Morning. Are you coming in then?
Good morning, and what a show we got lined up for you today. We truly have. Trigger-happy TV star Dom Jolly will be here. And talking all about his travels around the world, and I'll be cooking a dish of salt cod with anchovies. And we've got ex-F1 driver Karen Chandler will be here as well. First time he's been at the house, he's making a pit stop to my kitchen when he drops by the house a little bit later on this morning. And we're soaking up the culture and cuisine of one of Spain's greatest cities and the latest leg of my food adventures. That's not all, because the brilliant Sabrina Gideon will be here. She'll be heading down to Hampshire with a stunning recipe for lamb chops, and I'll be teaching you everything you want to know about cooking Dover sole in this week's Little Masterclass, one of my favourite dishes to cook. And that's not all, because I'm joined by a good mate who over the years has served some of the best dishes we've ever eaten on the Saturday morning. It's Atul Kochev! Welcome back, Chief. Welcome back.
Good to be back.
Happy New Year and all that.
Happy New Year to you too.
What are you going to be cooking for us then?
Well, I'm making a crab bonda, and which basically it's a kind of
crab bonda.
It's called bonda, but bonda is a street food, and it's often made with potatoes or beetroot, mostly root vegetables.
Okay.
But I'm upping the game and using local crab.
What is that, fried or what is it?
It's a crab meat mixed with either baked potato or boiled potato and spiced, made into beautiful dough balls kind of thing. Paned and fried, yes.
Never had them as well.
Hope you'll enjoy.
Never had. Served with a sauce, or you just have them as well?
So I'm serving it with a little salad, which is with charred corn, kimchi, and apple salad, and the tamarind chutney.
Of course you are, there you go. And we're kicking these off today with... I'm making a classic steamed syrup pudding, really. I thought, as the weather's still cold, I thought, what a perfect dish for it, really. I'm going to do it with a nice little whiskey custard made with whiskey from a distillery on this side of the Scottish border. Not the other side. We're going to introduce you to that in a minute. But first of all, nice little steamed sponge pudding. Now, this is ace. So we start off with the recipe for steamed sponge pudding. We start off with butter. We've got some... self-raising flour, I've got some sugar, I've got some large eggs I use for this one. I use some golden syrup, a touch of milk and some orange juice and orange zest. Now, particularly with the orange juice and orange zest, because I think it works really well together with whiskey, because I know you cook with a little bit of whiskey as well.
I love cooking with whiskey.
Things like with rhubarb and ginger and all that sort of flavour, I think it works really well together with this. So you start off, we add the sugar with the butter. Beautiful. That's going to go in. Is there an Indian version of steamed sponge pudding?
No, there isn't. To be
Technically, no.
But there is a savoury, if I may say, it's not a dessert, but it's a savoury thing, which we call dhokla.
Right.
And it's made with chickpea flour, yogurt, and just that's it. And then it's steamed together, and then it's spiced with mustard seed, curry leaves, and a little bit of sugar.
See, it surprised me, because I've never had an unsweet dessert in India. Gulab jamun, is it? That's what it's called? The lovely donuts?
That's your favourite, I hear.
That's my favourite. But you're saying there's sort of a savoury sort of version of it.
It's a kind of more like a snack, James. And it's a high tea time kind of thing for us.
Yeah.
And comes from Gujarat. And people would make it often with different flavours as well.
Right.
And tastes amazing.
Sounds pretty good. So, look, we're just going to take out a little bit of flour over here. This is to prepare our little mould. Yeah, I've taken a little bit of butter, some flour.
Line them.
Yeah, just line it just gently like that over the top. There we go. Steamed sponge pudding. And then we take some black treacle. Oh, sorry, some normal golden syrup. You can over the top. So you want a good amount. We're going to save some to put on the top as well, but a bit of that. Now, I like to use a little bit of large eggs for this. The recipe of it, once you've creamed the butter and the sugar together, you don't need to go mad with it. In we go with the eggs. And I like to use 3 large eggs for this one. There we go.
I like the way you break the eggs.
Well, it's pastry chef, you see. That's what it is. You know. You used to do hundreds of eggs a day. That's the problem. So, self-raising flour and then milk, just a tiny bit of milk. We just pop that in there, and then we just mix this together. It's such a simple little dish. The key to this really is the preparation when it comes to cooking it. So mix all this lot together. This goes like a cake batter, I suppose. When you've done that, nice and simple. Lift this out, and you've got your lovely steamed pudding there. Use a spatula, mix this all together, make sure it's all off the bottom, and that's done. You can put things like vanilla in there if you want, but I think with just the orange is enough, really, but particularly when we're going to have it, this whiskey custard. It's so simple. Fill up the mould. You want it about sort of 3/4 up.
Right as well.
Yeah, and rather than... Now, there's a quick way of doing this, which I've seen chefs do online and bits and pieces, and that's microwave. No, don't do that. No air fryers, no microwave.
That's cheating.
All pan properly, all right? Then take some tin foil. The reason for the tin foil is this. You can use tin foil or greaseproof paper. You just take this, fold it over, like that, and allow there's a little crease in there. You can use greaseproof paper as well, but you put the little crease in there. The idea is just that this starts to expand. You don't want to have this too tight. So as it expands, that gives the sponge room to move in here. If it's too tight, then it's just going to basically, it's going to be quite tough. So you will just want to take a little bit of string around the edge, like that, tie it off. And the great thing about this, you can make this, pop it in the fridge and leave it. And then when you want to cook it, then you do this. So pop that over the top, cover it over with a little bit of foil, something like that. I've got one over here, so I won't use any more foil. So we'll take a little bit of this, cover it over, and you want to cook that just gently. Allow that to simmer away nicely. That takes about 1 hour and 3/4. Just simmer away nicely. Make sure the water doesn't disappear. Keep topping it up every now and then, but just let that tick away for 1 hour and 3/4. It could be perfect. Right, on with the custard. So to find out more about where this whiskey comes from our custard, we're not heading to Scotland, we're not heading to Ireland, we're actually heading to Northumberland to speak to Eileen Ferguson from the Edgefryn Whiskey Distillery. I can see you there. I bet you it smells amazing in that room as well. Nice to meet you, Eileen.
It does. I hope it smells as good as your room.
Exactly. Well, not quite yet. I've not used yours yet. So tell me about the distillery, because we're talking about distilleries. We're talking about stuff that's years and years and years old, hundreds of years old, centuries old. Yours isn't. Yours is very new. But tell me about the process of how it all started.
Yeah, well, we are a new distillery. It's a whiskey distillery, but we also distill gin. And we started looking at this a number of years ago, but we didn't start building until after COVID. So we're very new.
So you looked at the building was the key to this, and the place where you are in it, really, because you wanted, as a business, you wanted to put something back. Neither of you had done it. Your partner as well. Neither of you had done this as a job before, distilling whiskey or anything else, doing something completely haulage, was it, or something like that? And then you looked at this building and thought, we need to put something back into the community, and that's where the idea came from.
Yeah, well, it is. It's a project of passion, I would say. And I'm from here. My husband and I are both Northumbrian, and we've not been involved in whiskey making before. And we thought we wanted to regenerate the high street. So we started to think about what we could do. And for me, it is a passion thing. I wanted to give something back. I wanted to say, let's do something for the people of Wooler, where I'm from, the people of the northeast region, because we can be a bit like the forgotten land. We're in between Yorkshire, where you're from, and Scotland. But I would like to point out...
it is a beautiful part of the world up there. The coastline's amazing as well. But I'm presuming this all links together, because isn't barley production's quite serious barley production up in that neck of the woods, though, isn't it? So the kind of two go hand in hand.
Absolutely. We've got the biggest maltster in Europe is actually in Berwick-upon-Tweed, which is in Northumberland, just on the border. And the River Tweed, where a lot of barley is grown and ready for malting, goes through Northumberland on one side and the Scottish borders on the other.
You got a fan over here straight away. I know that he likes his whiskey this time in the morning as well.
That's good.
So tell me, we've had whiskey distilleries on the show before, but the building we've got to talk about as well, but particularly the name. That there's a lot of thought that's gone into this. So tell me about the name. You've got two different types of whiskey over here, and you do produce a cream whiskey. So I'll let him pour that one and that one. We'll have a taste of it all while we're here. So who thought of the name then? Because the name's quite...
Well, actually, this is a family business. So it started around my kitchen table. I, like yourself, like cooking, and we have lots of family dinners and things. And we started around the kitchen table. And we said we were going to develop the site here in Wooler, which was a lot of heartache in a way. So when we decided that we would tell our children that we were going to spend all of their inheritance, they weren't too impressed. That was Easter 2018. But they did say, well, if that's what you want to do, you do it. And then the next comment I had was to say, well, would anybody like to work with me? And my stepson came to work with me.
Yeah.
And he's got a PhD in archaeology. And his thesis was on Northumbria and Anglo-Saxon Northumbria. So when we started working together, we knew that we would have to, the whiskey distillery was one thing, but we also, if we just created a whiskey distillery here, we wouldn't have employed very many people, so it wouldn't have made a huge difference.
Yeah.
But we created a visitor experience. And in that, we've got an Anglo-Saxon museum. So we've focused on, there's a lot of Anglo-Saxon heritage just about 4 miles along the road. So Ardgeffryn comes from that. That's the name of the entertainment house for the Royal Palace of Northumbria.
And are you happy with the end result? Are you and the family happy? Because we're tasting it over here. It's spectacular. I'm really enjoying this, but
I'm speechless.
I'm about to ruin it and put it in my custard, to be honest with you. But are you happy with all the work that you put in? Because it has been a labour of love. I know it has for you as well.
Well, I think it's sometimes, I go on saying sometimes it's a bit like, you know, you think, some days I think I'm living the dream, and then the next morning I get up and I think I've gone into a nightmare. But yes, I have a huge sense of pride. When I come in to the building and I look up and I go, wow, this is what we've created. This is what we've given back. But it's a lot of teamwork because, you know, we've got a great distilling team. We've got a great team in the museum.
So, Eileen,
so we are actually working together.
So sorry to disturb you, to cut you out. Which year when you first produced first bottle of whiskey in this place?
Well, the first bottle of single malt will be ready in 2026.
Okay.
So what you're drinking at the moment is a blend, and it's a blend of English, Irish, and Scotch whiskies. So, and that's part of the Anglo-Saxon people were made of English, Irish, Scotch,
it's beautiful.
And Scandinavian. So we've blended them together in Northumberland.
and the smokiness is amazing. It's just right because, you know, if whiskies get too smoky,
too strong, is it really?
It just becomes too strong. It's perfect.
Yeah.
It's such a good balance. And, you know, for an Indian, a whiskey is very important. You know that.
I do.
So for me, I really love it, the way you have done it. And all three whiskies which I've tasted, they're amazing. The second one, which says batch number 2, I don't know where does that come from. Yeah. That's more gentle and nice. It's kind of everyday drinking.
Yeah, I'm using the stronger one for I'm using the stronger
that's
one
good.
for
I was
my
about to
custard
say that. I was about to recommend.
Exactly. So I'm just going to recap what I've got on here because I've got my egg yolks, I've got my sugar, I've thickened it up with the cream and the milk with a touch of vanilla. I've added a little bit of the whiskey to the custard as well. But then we've got our puddings. Now, the eagle-eyed viewers will go, why has he made 3? Well, he's made 3 because one's called Johnny, one's called Will, and this is the rest of the crew. And if you know this crew here, they'll know this is true. Exactly. So we're going to lift this off. This is your steamed sponge pudding. So, and I love this. I'll be honest with you. I had this down in Devon. I was with John Hooker. Yeah. You know the chef.
Yes.
We went for a lunch, and I had steamed sponge pudding.
Oh wow.
For lunch, it was one of the nicest desserts. This was last week, and I thought I'm going to come back and I'm going to do this on the Saturday show. I'm going to come back and do it. So I borrowed Nick the recipe from it as well. Lovely lady, she gave me the recipe, and we'll put it online for you. And this is her recipe; it's not mine. And I think it's probably the nicest steamed sponge pudding recipe I've ever used.
It looks amazing.
So we're going to take that, take the pudding, flip it over. Like that, and wait, and then we'll use another pan over here, another one. Tip that over as well, and then wait, and then hopefully this does your whiskey justice, Eileen. But we'll lift this off.
I hope so. It looks absolutely incredible, and I wish I was there to taste it.
Honestly, this recipe is so good. It's so good. But look at that.
Oh wow.
And this is how I had it, and this dinner, and literally, I think one was called James and one was called John.
Yes.
This one, but look, we just take our lovely custard that goes with it. But Eileen, I wish you all the very best with it. And whenever I'm up in that neck of the woods, I'm going to come and visit. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, Alan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
And we'll leave you with that. There we have it. My steamed sponge pudding with extra
That's
treacle.
important.
Treacle over the top. Because you've got to put extra treacle on the top.
Oh, yes.
And then we got custard. Now, there's people watching this is going, this is a bit calorific. You ain't seen nothing yet. Wait till the rest of the show. But look, bit of the custard on the top. Now, I know what you're thinking as well. What happens if there's two of you? You make four. Simple as that. There we have it. Steamed sponge pudding with a whiskey custard. Done.
Fantastic.
This is a shame, isn't it? One for me, one for you, really.
I know.
To start with.
Nobody else gets it?
Bit of custard over the top.
Yes, please.
A little bit of that. You get to dive into that. There we have it, Chief.
Oh, yes.
There we have it. Tell me what you think.
Oh.
So good, this. It's just...
Oh. I'll be sitting here for the rest of the show.
Oh, I love puddings like this. This in the microwave, it's not going to work. You've got to do it. You've got to wait for it.
This is amazing, James. The whiskey flavour is no doubt great, but the pudding has got that citrus orange flavour. Amazing.
Right, I'll be treating my guests, the very funny Dom Jolly, to a dish of salt cod very shortly. And Atul will be firing up the hobs a little bit later on this morning. But don't go anywhere, because after the break, we're heading off to Bilbao for another one of my favourite food adventures. I'll see you in about 3 minutes. Might
Keep
get
going.
through half of this.
Keep going.
Welcome back. Now we'll be cooking for Trigger Happy TV's Dom Jolly very shortly, and Chef Sabrina Guido will be putting lamb chops on the menu for us in just a bit. But before that, we're swapping the chilly winter Hampshire for some Spanish sun. And this week, my travels are taking me to Bilbao, where me and my guide are leaving the museums and art galleries behind to visit the city's world-famous food market. Enjoy this one. Today, I'm returning to the Basque Country, away from the mountains of La Rioja and back to the northern coastline of Spain. Now, the Basque Country is an amazing place. You've got gorgeous countryside, beautiful scenery by the sea, but also amazing cities. And I'm heading now to the main one, Bilbao, which is home to some beautiful museums, but also some fantastic food. I'm meeting up with local TV cookery host Patrizia Vitelli, who also has a Bilbao-based food tour company. I'm told she'll be taking me to a market which dates back to the 14th century, so I'm looking forward to seeing what food I can get my hands on. The Mercado de la Ribera is in the centre of Bilbao and is huge. In fact, in 1990, it made the Guinness Book of Records as the biggest undercover food market in the world. There's just stall after stall of fish. It's stunning. You've got meat, you've got everything you need.
Yes, you have everything you need.
I'm already hopeful I'm going to find some great ingredients to inspire some recipes to cook during my time here. You see, I love fresh fish like this. You
Yeah.
must love it as well.
It's beautiful, yeah. But it's like too many options. I don't know what to choose.
Exactly. So I've seen we've got sea bass over here. I see a lot
Yeah.
of this. This is hake.
This is hake, merluza,
Okay.
and it's like a fish that we eat a lot here.
We have it in the UK, but do you salt it first?
We salt it first,
Yeah.
and then with flour and egg,
Yeah.
and we deep fry it.
Okay.
Yes.
Right. Deep fry in olive oil, then, I presume.
Olive oil, of course.
All right.
It's like your fish and chips, but better.
But better. There we go. What a place. Imagine having a market like that on your doorstep in your home city. And I've got plenty of ingredients to inspire my first cook. Thank you so much. It's an amazing place. It really is. So great to be able to walk around and experience the city. But to really get a sense of it, I've come up to this viewpoint to cook up a treat. It is a fabulous city, this, and it's all snaked through the centre of it by this fabulous river. The market is just down there, and I thought I'd do a dish that Patrizia told me about, really. It's a dish that you'll find a lot around Bilbao. It's fried fish. So the first thing we need to do is prepare our fish. Now, in the market there, you saw some amazing hake. the flesh can be quite soft, and you can see that. If I open that up, you can tell this. If you open it up, you can almost press it, and it'll just break in your hands. So what you want to do with this is you need to salt it. And this will firm up the flesh. Leave it for about 10 minutes. While I leave the hake to one side, I'm going to make a start on the pimento pepper mayonnaise, the perfect pairing to some fried fish. So I've got some egg yolks in here. Classic mayonnaise starts off with some mustard. Touch of mustard, good dollop of that. Goes in. And then we start mixing this. Then you add some olive oil. Now, I wouldn't normally do mayonnaise with olive oil, but in these parts, if I did it with vegetable oil, I would probably get thrown off this hill. And it's actually a misconception. The more oil you add, the thinner it gets. It's actually the opposite. The more oil you add, the thicker it gets. You keep mixing, mixing, mixing. Change hands. Once at the right consistency, add a touch of garlic and some lemon juice. But this is the key to it, the pimento paste. And this is this wood-roasted peppers. It's got this lovely smoky pepper taste to it. Bit of salt, bit of pepper. And that's really your sauce done. Meanwhile, we're going to pay attention to our fish now, because I've got in here a lovely hake. Now you can see the texture of this is very different to what I showed you earlier. It's much more firmer. And although it's only been in the salt for 10-15 minutes, wash it off, pat it dry really well. You can then cut it into nice pieces for you to fry. Now, I know one person particularly watching this will be a guy called Johnny. He's my fishmonger, who'll be shouting at the TV now going, I told you, I told you, I told you hake was amazing. I said to you, because I, for quite a while, had it banned in my restaurant. I didn't really like it that much. But since I've been out here, I've really known how to prepare it, really, I suppose, because it's served a lot around these parts. And then I've got a combination here, a little bit of flour and some egg. Just some beaten egg. And then we're going to fry this. In olive oil, of course. And then you grab your fish into the flour first, and then into the beaten egg. And then all you want to do is just drop it into your pan, like that. Nice hot pan. This should only take about a minute. And then when you turn it over, look at that. It's got a lovely bit of coloured fish. Look at that. This is where Patricia said it was very similar to our fish and chips. Clearly never been to Whitby. Look at that. Look at that in there. Lovely. And we can then sort of serve this. It's really simple. You just take your lovely bit of fried fish. This is where we can get a dollop of our little mayonnaise, but you can see that, look at the colour of that. Put a bit of that on there. Nice wedge of lemon. Don't forget the free parsley. A little bit of that with it as well. And there we have it, Basque fried hake with pimento pepper mayonnaise. What an amazing place Spain is, and the markets there are truly spectacular. Next time you're over, go visit one. It won't disappoint, trust me. Atul Kutcher will be cooking for us a little bit later, and Chef Sabrina Guido will be treating us to lamb chops in just a bit. But I'll see you after the break when I'll be chatting to TV icon Dom Jolly over salt cod and anchovies. That too tastes delicious. I'll see you after the break. Welcome back. Now, coming up, we're enjoying yet another stunning recipe from Chef Atul Kutcher. And ex-F1 star Karun Chandak will be joining me at the house very shortly. But first, I'm here with a man behind the smash hit series Trigger Happy TV, who's gone on to have a whole other career as a globe-trotting traveller and a writer. It's the one and only Dom Jolly! Welcome back, I'm going to say. Welcome back.
It's my favourite show.
Welcome back.
You get to chat to you and you make me nice food. It's
talk
great.
about yourself and we cook something.
What could be better?
Now, the last time we were on here, I was trying to pick something that you love. I mean, you love your travelling, you love your Spanish ingredients. So I've just come back from a series in Spain. So I thought I'd do you a couple of the dishes that I learned from there, really. Bocaneros, these classic Spanish-style anchovies. I'm going to do that with a dressing of lemon, some garlic, in a pestle and mortar with some parsley and some olive oil. But this one over here, salt cod.
Ooh.
We're going to do salt cod bacla, which is the salt cod, which is over here. What you need to do with this, if you're faced with this, this is the solid form, and then what you do is you put it in water overnight. Just let it soak in water overnight, and it softens it up. And then what you do is you poach it in milk. So just take the salt cod straight out of here. You don't want this water because it's salty, obviously. Take some milk, a little bit of bay leaf, and you just poach that.
And they salt it to preserve it.
Salt it to preserve it, yeah.
Will it just keep forever?
It keeps forever. And they actually do it in Spain, but they actually do it in the Orkneys. So I know you love your travelling, Orkneys and Shetlands, they've got this. It's amazing up there as well. This stuff is absolutely fantastic up there. And then you take the bay leaf and you just bring it to the boil, poach it for about sort of 15 minutes, depending on the thickness. And I've got one that we're going to hear. We're going to make this puree out of potato, a little bit of olive oil, and some bread, and all that gets mixed together.
It's like a sort of bread sauce, fishy chowder.
Kind of that kind of stuff as well. But anyway, we've got to talk about what you're doing at the moment, because, I mean, you're travelling all over the place. I can't believe anybody hasn't done this. This is about conspiracy theories. I think it's a fantastic idea.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird because I have to say, you know, like a lot of people, I was stuck in lockdown during the pandemic and sort of arguing with a lot of people online, and people went a bit...
I did see that, to be honest.
Yeah. People went a bit sort of weird online, you know, and you end up arguing with people about all sorts of things, about whether the Earth is flat and, you know, chemtrails and stuff like that. And part of me was just thinking, do these people really believe this stuff? Or are they doing it just for clicks, just to, you know...
Because you do often think that. You think, well, you know, there's always one...
I mean, there's nothing...
Crazy person.
There's always something someone will argue about.
But then it seems to be the social media. It gathers momentum quite quickly, doesn't it?
But that was my point. And I'd never met any of these people in real life. Like, have you ever met anyone that says they're a flat earther? No, but online, they were all over the place.
Right.
So I thought the whole point of the book was... I mean, I'm a travel writer now anyway, so I like a reason to go off somewhere. And I thought, why don't I go around the world and meet some of these people, look at conspiracies, and I really just wanted to look someone in the eye and say, go on, tell me, seriously, you think the Earth is flat? And I did, and it was even weirder than I thought. This was
for the book and the book that you've got here as well. This takes... How do you even begin to slim this down? Because there's quite a lot. From Paul McCartney, yet it used to be... I remember, was it Arthur C. Clarke I used to watch?
Oh, I loved Arthur C. So that's where my whole thing started. Arthur C. Clarke's Mysterious World.
I was reading a little bit of this and I'm thinking...
He was Bigfoot, Loch Ness.
That was it?
Yeah, I loved that.
The skull, and remember that?
Oh, the crystal skull.
Yeah,
I loved that. Yeah, I really liked that.
That was it. I remember watching that as a kid,
but that's the point of this book, because I love that stuff. And I did a book, you know, I went off looking for Bigfoot and the Yeti and stuff. But that's... In those days... if you can call those conspiracies, they were fun. You know, like, did we land on the moon? Is Elvis alive? You know, they were sort of funny and not threatening. Yeah. Suddenly, conspiracies jumped to being actually quite dangerous. Like, people suddenly are in their tribes and they're telling people really they're giving them bad medical advice. You got President of the United States.
Help when the president does stuff like that.
But that's the point. And it's kind of become mainstream. And I think it's jumped from being funny to actually being really dangerous. And I mean, that's now. Like, when you've got AI and all that stuff coming, you're not going to know what to believe. So I really just wanted to go out there. And I have to say, I started thinking these people are idiots. But having done the book, I actually feel quite bad for a lot of people that have fallen into conspiracy theories, because once you express even a vague interest online in it, the algorithm hits you and you just get sent this stuff and your reality just gets warped.
Right.
So, yeah.
Some of the weirdest ones as well. I mean, you've got to start with the almost top of the chapter.
Yeah.
tell me about Finland, because
Well, it doesn't exist.
you went back and said to your wife, we're going
yeah.
on holiday, first of all.
Well, I felt bad for my wife, because I do lots of travelling on my own for my travel book. She's always like, come on, why am I not going? I go, because it's work, it's not a holiday. So anyway, she insisted. She said, next trip, I'm coming.
Right.
I said, OK. She said, where are we going? And I said, Finland. And I have to say, her face dropped a little bit. And then she said, why are we going to Finland? And I go, because it doesn't exist. And then I could see her thinking, right, this is a terrible mistake.
Right.
So I found this pyramid of weird conspiracies, and it starts with kind of slightly believable, and then it gets more and more weird.
Where does this Finland doesn't exist come from? Does it originate from
Yeah,
somewhere?
I mean, it's a very long, complex thing, but to break it down, essentially, the theory is that in 1917, Russia and Japan wanted the fishing rights to that part of the Baltic Sea, right. So they made up a country called Finland so that people wouldn't go there fishing. Right. So the idea is if you go to Finland, you're not landing in a place called Finland. You're either in Sweden or Russia, and the people you meet are actors. It's the same thing. Flat earthers think Australia doesn't exist because it's underneath the flat earth. So any Australian you've met is a hologram. Sorry to any Aussies out there. I've always been suspicious.
How can you do that? I mean, obviously you've got to do that. Do you look at it as a comedy sort of thing? You can't actually. Because some of these people, they do take it seriously. You can't. You can't Mickey. Do you Mickey take?
No, I didn't Mickey take. I didn't Mickey take. I mean, genuinely, there is something very funny about a lot of conspiracy theories. You know, flat earthism, does Finland exist? But it's also quite serious because people do genuinely believe it, and it's more about misinformation. It's about who do you trust now? Where do you get your news from? What is a fact? Like Donald Trump's spokesperson, Kellyanne Conway, she's used those terms, alternative facts. And the moment you've got alternative facts, you don't have any facts anymore. So when I went there, I genuinely went there with an open mind. And I thought, because I'm fascinated. What makes you think the Earth is flat? What makes you think Finland doesn't exist when we're literally flying to it on a plane? But then you get there and you realise that if you've got your conspiracy head on, you land in Helsinki, you go up, you get your passport stamped, and the guy goes, welcome to Helsinki. And I go, where am I? And he goes, Finland. I go, am I? And you can see him thinking, oh, God.
Another one.
Another one. And I go, but how can you prove it's Finland? He goes, well, look on your map. Look on your phone. On the map. I go, yeah, but who owns that? It's Bill Gates. It's always Bill Gates. They think is behind everything.
And, I mean, you looking back at your career, you've had a fascinating career. We look back...
It's not been very well planned.
No, but I mean, you're saying... Well, it hasn't been very... But you look back at all the stuff that you've been doing...
Yeah.
Before television, because we'll talk about TV in a minute, but before that, you had a fascinating career before that. I mean,
I did
diplomat?
I was a diplomat. I was the world's worst diplomat. I was in Prague. Because Prague was like... I'd go and see the Velvet Underground in the Politburo's old bunker. Beer was, honestly, 4p a pint. It was heaven. It was just an amazing place to be. But I didn't know what I was doing. So people would knock on my door, come in and ask me something, and I'd nod quite seriously, and I'd take their file, and I'd say, I shall refer that back to Brussels. And then I just threw it in a cupboard. I've no idea what happened to anything.
Wasn't it politics and wasn't it television that sort of morphed together? And did you get fired once from...
I got fired.
Was it the football incident?
Yeah. So I worked for ITN. I was a producer for a sort of serious political programme in Westminster. And, I used to get people down when I did little interviews on the green in front of Big Ben, just to sort of make the interviews more exciting. I had some friends dressed as clowns have a clown fight behind Paddy Ashdown once, and that went down well. And then I did David Mello, who was I think he was the culture secretary at the time, and we were talking about football hooliganism. So I thought, right, I'll get some mates to play football in the background. And then whenever I do stuff, my signal is always to scratch my head. Right. And so I said, when I scratch my head, kick the ball over and then I'll play football and ignore him. Yeah. Anyway, I scratched my head, the ball came sailing over, smacked David Mellor in the face, and basically that led the whole show that night. And I was like, oh, no. And I kind of thought it was what the country wanted, but ITN fired me the next day when they realised that I was setting it up. So I'm sorry about that, David Mellor, not really.
I think your career is fascinating. We're going to talk a little bit more. These are your anchovies, first of all. These are the...
I love anchovies.
So I've made
anything in the world.
So I've made these. This is just with the olive oil. So what you do is you take a little bit of garlic, some salt.
So is that like a pesto or a...
No, it's just an oil, really. So you put the lemon pulp in it. So you take the lemon, crush it all up with the garlic, a bit of salt, some parsley and some olive oil, and that's it.
Bread and anchovies is pretty much what I could live on. Yeah,
but that's the first one. I've got my bread in the oven. Yeah. This one over here, I'm just going to show you. This is the puree. This is how you end up with it. It's like that.
That is bread saucy. But that's fishy, is it?
Well, then we add milk, and then what we do is we blend in olive oil.
Right.
And this creates this lovely little paste that goes with it. So you take the olive oil, and you're also kind of emulsifying it all in, but you blend it.
But when is it emulsified? Like, when do you know?
When emulsifies, when you usually the emulsification happens with egg yolks.
Right.
So you start with egg yolks, blend it and add the oil, and that would emulsify. But you can emulsify oil into anything like this
But is it... How do you know when it is emulsified?
because it thickens up. It blends together into it. If it separates, it splits.
Right, OK.
So when it stays together as a
So technically, you're just saying mix, aren't you?
yeah, so you can just add the oil. And what happens to this? You end up with this amazing liquid. And then what we do is you take some black pepper, just a bit of black pepper over
You
it.
haven't put a foot wrong on ingredients yet for me. I mean, everything I like.
Happy with that so far?
Yeah.
This tastes amazing. It's really, really simple.
So is this all quite Spanish-themed, this one?
This is Spanishy sort of theme, yeah.
Because I love tapas. My favourite place in London is Barafina. I just go and sit there. I can watch them cook for ages.
But this is what you end up with. You end up with this sort of paste that we have on here, and then we're going to use that to then finish this off with red peppers and some bread with it as well. But not only that, you know, content with having a #1 best-selling book, which this is.
Thank you.
You're about to hit the road. I'm fascinated about this tour as well, because this tour has the same sort of theme.
Well, yeah, the book's called The Conspiracy Tourist, and the tour is called The Conspiracy Tour. Right. See what I did there?
Yeah.
And, yeah, kind of, I did my last... I haven't done many tours, because I didn't ever do stand-up or anything. I did TV comedy, and I kind of tried to beat my fear of live stuff with my last book, where I walked across Lebanon. It's called The Downhill Hiking Club, and I thought, I'll do a show kind of explaining how I started off being the guy shouting into a big phone and dressing as a squirrel and end up walking across Lebanon. This one's going to be a bit like that, The Conspiracy Tour. I'm going to talk about the things I came across and discovered, you know, on my trips in the book.
Yeah.
But because it's it's a controversial subject, conspiracies, you know, and so I thought I'd balance it out. So I've got one of Britain's leading conspiracy theorists. He's called Dr. Julian Northcote. Right. I don't know if you're aware of him. He wrote a book called Cows, Britain's Secret Killers. There's a terrible problem, apparently, of cows killing ramblers. And he's written this book, although Big Pharma has tried to suppress the book, but he's got it out. And so I've got him touring with me. We don't really get on. In fact, we've never been in the same room because it's that bad. But he's gonna have a lot to say.
So when does this tour start?
It starts February the 21st, and it's pretty much solid till March the 28th, doing everywhere. It's just an English tour. I'm getting a lot of hassle online for not going to Wales, Ireland, Northern Ireland, Scotland. Listen, I'd love to. Book me. But at the moment, this is just an English tour. But I'm pretty much everywhere in England, yeah.
Well, we look forward to seeing you on tour as well.
Yeah,
there we
great.
go. So this is your nice little bit of salt cod with the peppers.
Oh.
So you just put that over the top and you have it with the bread that goes with it. You've got a little this dressing with sherry vinegar. So the sherry vinegar and a touch of olive oil.
Anything with bread is just too good.
Like that. And then we take the bread and the bread sits alongside it like that. That is the first dish for you.
I can barely speak, I'm so
two
angry.
that's coming. My nice little bit of salt cod, puree, with a little bit of lemon in there as well, a touch of garlic with some wood roasted peppers, and then the classic Spanish anchovies with that lemon and garlic dressing. Easy as that.
Amazing.
Done. Have a taste of these, first of all. So you just eat them with a fork. You don't need the bread, really, with that, but just eat them with a fork.
Can I not have the bread?
No, you just have them with a fork as it is. It's up to you, but you can have it with
I've
the
got to
bread.
have a bit of bread.
But they're just...
Oh, my God. That is incredible.
And then if you spread the paste on the bread... I love this, and it's
There's no elegant way to eat this. So.
No, you just...
Yeah.
Spread it. It's like a
This is like a fish hummus.
paste. It's just amazing.
Mm.
That is...
Oh, my.
That is amazing.
Oh, my God, that's incredible.
Sold. There'll be more from Dom a little bit later on in the show. We've got a cracking recipe from for racing driver Karun Chandok very shortly. But join us again after the break when we're handing over the hobs to Chef Sabrina Guido. I'll see you in a bit. It's nice,
That is
isn't it?
incredible.
That is amazing.
They're both incredible.
Welcome back. Now, XF1 star Karun Chandok will be making his Saturday morning debut very shortly. And there's a masterclass in Dover Sole Meunier coming your way a little bit later. But first, I'm here with Atul. And we're here to get ready for a taste of a dish from a chef who's still one of the only women to get to the finals of the prestigious Roux Scholarship twice. It's Sabrina Guido. Now, I'm looking forward to this because I've tasted your food many, many times, not only in the Roos Scholarship as well, but
Yes.
what are you going to be doing for us?
Tandoori lamb chops for you, and a beautiful panzanella-style salad, so obviously in seasoned tomatoes, but I love broccoli.
Okay.
And then we'll be having some crispy chickpeas and naan chips, and then serving with a gorgeous roasted chilli chutney. So a bit of heat.
Happy with that one, Chief?
Absolutely.
So I'm going to get on and do the lamb, which is over here. So this
Please.
is, you want me to basically just pop this under the grill?
Absolutely.
And then this is the bit that you're going to show us.
Yeah, and I'll talk you through the marinades. So you can cook them on the barbecue, and as ever, it helps to marinate ahead of schedule.
Yeah.
So
We're going to grill ours, though, aren't we?
I think so.
Just under the grill.
Grill, pan fry, whatever you're happiest with. So we'll take some yogurt, perfect for tenderising.
Yeah. I like how you give me this job because I'm going to go for yellow fingers from now on. Looks like I'm on 30 cigarettes a day.
I wore a white shirt.
Yeah,
last
thanks very much
time,
for that.
and, I'll hand that over to you. So into the bowl, a little touch of cumin, some garam masala, some turmeric,
Yeah.
and a little touch of ginger garlic
So
paste.
you keep this recipe. Is this recipe the same or is it standardised? What would be the standardised in it?
You know, it's the Indian pantry is pretty common, and the personal touch comes from the chef.
Right.
Totally.
And you know, the way Sabrina cooks, it's just her personal way of doing it,
Yeah.
and which is always amazing.
There you go.
Simple
So
dishes, in an
kind.
amazing manner.
But you know, this is it about
I
sort
wondered
of
what the 20 quid was swapping
Indian-
over for you
I
out
know.
there.
It was actually, yeah. I think it was a pink note, actually, Chef. But do you know, it's the thing about sort of cooking, and especially South Asian food. So you give all that a good old mix, and let it stay overnight or a couple of days, and that'll get some really great
That's what
flavour.
you want
in
me
them.
to do, isn't it?
Yes, chef.
You want to mix this all up.
So, but it is individual, isn't it? And it's how you
Definitely.
cook at home, and there are nuances, and it is different. And I think that's what makes it quite special, really.
Yeah.
Whilst you're doing that, I'm going to talk about salads. Really need texture. So for me, love chickpeas, big fan. Really nice way is having them as they are through the salad, but also to make some kind of crispy croutons. So I'm going to do these things together. You can
Love
do them
this, yeah.
separate tray together as you wish. But we're going to make some little
I've
naan
actually got a
chips.
separate tray for you. Here.
Oh, thank you. So, some gorgeous little croutons.
Yeah.
And also, you know, if your naans are a bit stale or normal bread, focaccia, whatever you have at home.
Now, for anybody that doesn't know about yourself, I mentioned the Roos Scholarship as well. I mean, you worked with some amazing places. The Dorchester was probably the turning point for you, though, was it?
I did do a stage at the Dorchester
Yeah.
Hotel. That was a real eye-opener for
Yeah.
me. I have some stories, but we'll save that for a bit later. It was incredible.
But
to
working
see
in
that.
big kitchens like that must be amazing.
Wow, what an amazing opportunity.
Yeah.
Some great teams and a very well-oiled machine.
And then you've come out of that sort of world and gone into this. So you're consulting now, which is great. I think you're perfect for this sort of stuff. The consulting, and you doing sort of pop-ups and bits and pieces.
I am. I think collaboration is a really important part of cooking, and it's really
Yeah.
great to get together, learn things from other chefs.
Gives you the night off every now and then as well.
Yeah,
doesn't
from
it,
time
really?
to time. That's pretty good. not going to lie.
I'm just saying that.
Exactly.
So what have you put on there then? This is the chickpea bit. What's on that bit?
I've used some chaat masala in this, and
Yeah.
then you can do this ahead of time and leave them in a little Clip-Lock box, and then you have kind of, you know,
So this then you just bake in the oven.
yes, bit of colour, bit of crunch.
Okay.
Here
there
we
you
go. It's that easy.
Lamb chops are cooking away. So these ones
Perfect.
you've got done as well.
I have. In true Here's One We've Made Earlier style.
And then you want me to? I'm going to warm this asparagus up. Not the asparagus.
Please.
This broccoli. So I'll get a little tray. over
you know,
here.
if you're lucky enough to have some very warm weather, you can serve it cold.
Where's that then?
No, not today.
Yeah.
Not today.
She's talking about when she was in India.
Feels like a long time ago since I've been warm, honestly. So for this, I'm going to choose some onion for a bit of crunch. And then we'll just have a little assembly. So,
So this is like a little warm and cold salad as well.
yeah, exactly that. And if you're entertaining, you can make it ahead of schedule if you would like. And then I've got a couple of masalas for crunch and flavour to add. Not too much onion.
Now, I often ask it, I ask that as well. Well, your love of food, it's got to come from your parents, isn't it, really? Because
Always.
the cooking at home is so essential for...
I've seen some of Sabrina's pictures.
Yeah.
I wasn't looking for inspiration, but just I was looking. And she was cooking with her mum, and
Yeah.
I think that
Is that
was
where you
amazing.
learned as well? Because, you know, I remember you saying that your family wanted you all to be doctors, was it? And
Yeah,
stuff like that,
you
was
know,
it?
in the era I grew up in, James, everybody wanted their kids to be doctor engineers. You were not asked, you were told.
Yeah.
I think the
And
microplanes.
I always joke that if you were not very good in studies, then you'll become an accountant.
Right. And what happened when you decided that was going to be a chef?
I think I was way below the chart.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Yeah, that
Nobody
was,
wanted to know me.
it is. It's interesting, isn't it, in terms of the approved list of professions? But it's great industry. I love hospitality, and I know you feel the same, Chef.
I love
so
it.
we really want to encourage people to come and get stuck in.
So what have you got in there then? What's
Okay,
the...
so little touch of onion, some fresh coriander, if you've got mint, herbs that you love, touch of tamarind sauce, bit of lemon zest, lemon juice,
Yeah.
and a splash of... I know this is very fusion, isn't it? Because I've got
You see,
tamarind.
I'm obsessed with sherry vinegar since I've come back from Spain.
Amazing
This
ingredients.
is fantastic.
You know, Sabrina, I think flavors are flavors.
Agreed.
If they work with your food, it does work with your food, and it's all personal, as I said. So
I completely agree.
fusion, what fusion? We live in this world.
Exactly that. Exactly
For
that.
cuisine, it should be borderless world, in my opinion.
I think that's fair.
So what have you? You've got what's the spice in there as well?
Okay, so-
This is what I love about you. You just keep chucking it in, going. What?
Sorry.
We got somebody
Okay.
trying to write it down over there, going. What have you just put in there?
So we've got red onion, coriander,
Red onion, coriander.
lemon zest,
Yeah.
lemon juice, splash of sherry vinegar.
Yeah. What is that?
Touch of tamarind. This is chaat masala. So
Okay.
again,
One
we're
bit of that.
echoing that kind of flavour to come through.
Bit of garlic.
Little touch, please. Yeah, just a touch, and the kind of warmth.
Oh,
of the
you've
broccoli,
overdone it.
just
You've
to kind
overdone
of-
it. You've
That's
overdone
it.
it.
Perfect. Perfect. So we can look at assembling this now,
Right.
which is
So
a very
tell me what
easy
this
lift.
is in there.
Okay, so especially with my book, I like you to have the opportunity to pick and choose what you want to
So
mix.
give us the name of the book.
Modern South Asian Kitchen.
Whoa.
First one.
So it is the first one,
Yeah.
Chef. Yeah, special, very special. So I have a roasted chili chutney in there. So you take pepper, tomatoes, onions, garlic, chilies, and you roast them off on a really high heat so you get a char.
Right.
And then you sort of let that cool down, and then give it a good old blitz with some fresh coriander and lime, and you get this really,
Which is what this is.
yeah, super intense, vibrant chutney. Remember last time I was here, Daniel Galmiche was entering into the realm of spicy food.
He did, and then I think he borrowed. Daniel borrowed your recipe. I think he nicked it. Yeah,
I
exactly.
think he liked it as
I
well.
think he did
so-
like it, yeah. So anyway, we've got a plate, so you're ready
We
to
have.
serve. I'll get your broccoli out. I'll leave the lamb to the last minute for you. So
Perfect. Let's do this.
there's the broccoli for you.
Lovely. So, I'm going to get this into this bowl and just give it a little
Okay.
kind of a gentle mix together. And then I'm going to come in with
Chickpeas.
chickpeas.
Love these. These are
Ultimate
these
snack.
you could just munch on. These
Sit and eat all day.
fantastic.
And,
A nice glass of whiskey and this chicken.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing. And then just to finish, again with the crunch piece, is I love nigella seeds.
Oh, they're
you
beautiful.
kind of echo the flavour from the naan,
Yeah.
but gives a beautiful flavour.
Yeah. Right, that's those.
Okay, so let's have a little assemble. So in there you've got, you know, a tang from tamarind, you've got crispy, you've got crunchy, you've got a little heat from the onion,
Yeah.
freshness from the lemon. And if your tomatoes are not quite as ripe as they might like to be, then I recommend roasting them off and serving it as a warm salad.
Yeah.
You get a bit more juice and a bit more flavour there, so lovely. So I think that feels like a fairly generous
Looks pretty good for me. That.
portion.
Beautiful.
That's snacks for later, perhaps. I have
What are you looking for?
this, may I?
Okay. Yeah. Fine.
So, also recommending with cheese on toast.
What that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Roast chili
So you got
chutney.
that hot or cold? You just once it's roasted, you just have it cold.
Yeah, and when I'm barbecuing, I do all the veg on the barbecue, blitz
Right.
it and serve it warm. It's delicious, but
Well, your lamb chops are here and ready.
perfect. Coming in with my tongs. Oh, yeah. Look at those.
Happy with them?
Oh, real.
Well done.
Oh, the shoe's on the other foot now, isn't
Exactly.
it?
Well, exactly.
Oh, my.
Exactly. It
Love
is.
that. I am happy with
And I'm
those.
taking note on this one as
I
well.
know, right, yeah. The pressure. The pressure. Okay. Fab.
Right.
So, I mean,
Oh, I love
need a
this.
solid
This is
glass of wine with
fantastic.
that. and
Take the
then we're
oil?
ready. Yes,
Yeah,
please.
please.
There you go.
Absolutely. So, super easy, big flavour, simple, and really quite healthy, you know.
You know, such a great
So
nod
give
to
it the name
Southeast
of these 2 dishes then.
Tandoori lamb chops with a broccoli panzanella and a roasted chili chutney.
Beautiful.
Absolutely brilliant. Well, I think should we take 2? Because I know what he's like. I know what he's like. He'll polish off the rest. I know exactly what he's like.
Brilliant.
There we go, Chief. Have a little bit of that. We'll take a handful of that. We'll eat off the board.
Oh, I love this.
Look at that. Eh?
Perfect way of
Have it
eating.
to there. I'll get yourself some knives and forks. Tell me what you think of that one.
Oh, this is amazing.
Chutney on that
Love this
pizza.
chutney idea. So that's just your roasted veg. That's all it is. Just
Yep.
roasted veg.
All those roasted bits and bobs, bit of chilli, bit of lime, but, you know, big flavour.
Beautiful.
Happy?
You know I love your food. Lovely, isn't it?
Super.
Sabrina, everybody. That is delicious. That is delicious. Well done. Top work. Right, Atta will be trying to top trump Sabrina's dish a little bit later. I've already tasted it. It's not as good as this. But I'll be showing you how to cook Dover sole to perfection in this week's little masterclass. But join us again after the break, where I'll be serving up another classic dish, Tornado Rossini, for F1 star Karun Chandok. I'll see you after the break. Welcome back. Now I'll be showing you the do's and don'ts of cooking Dover sole in this week's little masterclass, and we've got more fantastic food on the way from Mr. Atul Kutcher. But first, I'm joined in the house by a man who's become a star in the F1 world, both behind the wheel and in the commentary box. He's the brilliant Karun Chandok. Thank you very much. Great to have you on the show. Now, usually we've got race overalls on, and you look better in a race overall than I do. But with a helmet on, and we're meeting at several bits and pieces at F1 circuits as well. But it's fantastic to have you at the house as well.
Listen, I love food, and I've been waiting to come on your show, so I'm very happy to
Well, I've
be
been
here.
waiting to chat to you as well, because your career is quite fascinating, really. It's one that is fascinating, like many F1 drivers, but I think yours is really fascinating. Tell me about your upbringing and your dad, and it wasn't F1 that was the key to your family success, was it really? It was something very, very different.
Yeah, my family were in motorsport. My grandfather used to race. My grandmother used to race, which if you think about an Indian woman in the 70s, you know, the social context of that is quite incredible. But my dad did a lot of rallying, which I know you love.
Yeah.
So I grew up right next to the workshop. I used to be, you know, my childhood was come back from school and crawl around underneath the rally cars, fixing gearboxes and putting exhaust together. And
how old were you then? This was, very young. Were you?
Yeah, I think, you know, I mean, as far as I remember, my dad was competing because he was competing from before I was born.
Yeah.
But we had the workshop from, I think I was probably 6 or 7 next door.
And what about karting then? How did that get into you into karting, or did that...
No, because I grew up at a time in India where we had no karting. We didn't have a go-kart track. We didn't have
This is the thing, because most F1 drivers you ever speak to, it's karting.
Yeah, and it's a huge disadvantage, I think, you know, coming into the sport. I was 16 when I first raced.
Yeah.
And by that stage, you know, people like Lewis or Max or whatever, they've been competing for a decade.
They've already signed up with F1 teams, I'm assuming.
Absolutely. And they've built that muscle memory in their nervous system, and, you know, just how to react to when a car's got new tyres or whether it's more grip or it's raining or whatever. So, yeah, it is a challenge, but life deals you a pack of cards. You either choose to play it or you fold up and walk away.
Well, talking about the places where you actually won, though, it's the Asian Championship. You were single-seaters, and you trounced it. Really.
Yeah, no, I started off racing in India, won the Indian Championship when I was 16, won the Asian Championship the year after, which was great fun, you know, travelling all across Philippines, China, Malaysia, Indonesia, in all those countries. Very fun. And then I moved to the UK to race in Formula 3 when I was 18.
Yeah.
And I couldn't cook. I couldn't make a cup of tea, and it was.
And how was that for you, really? Because you're leaving home. I'm assuming it's a very family orientated. You know,
exactly.
Your business is everything else, and to leave that at sort of 19 to follow a dream that is notoriously. I mean, you can't.
Yeah.
I mean, you think being a footballer's hard. there is very, very, very few that get into your world.
Yeah, there's under 800 Formula One drivers in the history of the sport. And, you know, for me, I came from a country of 1.3 billion people, and there have been 2 Formula One drivers, so it's a pretty exclusive club.
And was it everything you thought it would be, including F1? Was that everything you thought it would be, or you think...
You know what? I think the stuff inside the car was amazing. You know, as a kid growing up, Alain Prost was my childhood hero, and then Michael Schumacher was a hero of mine.
Yeah.
And my first ever F1 test was with Red Bull in Barcelona, and Schumacher had come back to do a test with Ferrari. And as I pulled out of the pits, I'll never forget it. If I close my eyes, I can picture it, is I followed Michael out of the pit lane in this Ferrari, and I just thought, this is just nuts, right? It's bonkers. And driving the cars is... And I've been lucky through the work I do in television and testing for Williams and stuff. I've driven now 30 different F1 cars, 11 of which have won the World Championship. So I've got to drive...
It's opened doors to you that are incredible. And we're talking about one of those doors as well. I know this is where we meet quite a lot. We've got to talk about Goodwood. I'm going to recap on here because there's people... My director's going, tell me about the food, tell me about the food. Yeah. Steaks in the oven. There we go. I've done the toast over here. I've got the mushrooms done. I've got my little bit of spinach that I'm wilting. The sauce is reducing with a little bit of Madeira. And I'll get on and talk about this amazing melon in a minute. But I want to talk to you about commentating, because that's led you on to doing bits and pieces. I've seen you at Goodwood bits and pieces, but you're about to dash off straight after this, heading off abroad.
Yeah.
You're commentating on Formula E.
Correct, yeah. So I do 6 or 7 weekends of Formula E, which is great fun and interesting. You know, I raced in the first season of FE, so, you know, it's a different branch of the sport.
Yeah.
My main year is taken up by Formula One. So, you know, I travel with Sky to 15 of the Grand Prix, and listen, I love Formula One. You know, it is the pinnacle of our sport. And I know there's people who... You have good years and bad years and more interesting years and less interesting years and all the rest of it. But ultimately, Formula One's Formula One, and it is a magical...
Well, it morphs into different things. There's eras where, you know, obviously you had the Schumacher era, you had the Prost, the Mansell era, you had all that sort of era. Now you've got... It's almost something away from that. You've got the Drive to Survive thing that's really kickfired the interest of it, which is great for you everywhere. That's what it's got to be. There's a plus side to it.
Listen, I think the Drive to Survive effect is not actually so much in the UK. Where you see that effect is in North America or in Asia, places like that, where it's a newer audience, and they're you know, for them, a lot of them, Formula One has started with Lando Norris and George Russell.
Exactly.
They don't know who Jackie Stewart is. And I think... But that's what's unique about the sport, is we have that blend of the amazing history, but also these brilliant new characters, actually. You know, they've all got personalities.
Well, we've got to talk about history, because none more so than what you're here to talk about as well, and what I meet you at all these sort of things as well. But Goodwood Revival, Goodwood Festival of Speed, 2 amazing festivals that happen each year. You can see you in action, because this is you won this race, didn't you, really?
I did in 2019, the Whitsun Trophy.
And people think F1's scary.
No, this is terrifying.
Well, should we see him in action? Just check this out. There's a huge talent behind the wheel. Just check this out.
Up the inside, and 1 and 2 are going to be a couple of seconds apart on the London Straight.
Karun's got to thread the eye of the needle through the Porsches. He gets by 1, and that's the breaking ease. Mike Whittaker gets by as well, but Chundok is by the second of the Porsches. Whittaker's got to throw it to the inside, but he's going to be too little too late. It's not going to happen. They were only 1700ths of a second apart in qualifying.
Yeah, he's not going to take a 9-10 out for the sake of that.
No, absolutely. Karun Chandok, broadside almost out through the chicane, squares it up and drives for the line. The second flag is out. Victory.
There we have it. In action there. But I've driven that. We've raced against each other as well. We've raced minis together as well. Yeah. I mean, the whole thing about... I'm just going to show you this melon as well. I've just got to show you this, because this is ace. Well, we'll talk about everything else. But I'm going to show you how to do this mock foie gras. Usually, Tonno Rossini is got foie gras in it. So I've got my steak over here, which have just been resting. I've got my spinach, I've got my mushrooms, got my brioche there. Sauce is finished. I'm just going to finish up with some truffle. This is watermelon. And what you do with the watermelon, you cut it into pieces like this, and this is called mock foie gras.
Right.
So there's a very, very famous Spanish restaurant, they're called El Bulli. That's now no longer, but it was run by the greatest chef in the world, and one of his sort of assistants or senior sous chefs I met, and he showed me how to do this. And they call this a mock foie gras. So it tastes like foie gras, but you haven't got the dough.
Right.
The key to this is nut brown butter. But you basically take the watermelon and you leave it in a vacuum-packed bag, leave it for a couple of days.
Okay.
And then you pan-fry it in this nut brown butter. We're going to finish that off with a little bit of salt while that's happening. Meanwhile, we've got to talk about that. That's the revival. And what's magical about the revival, I think, nowhere else in the world does this. The whole atmosphere, the whole setup.
Yeah.
Not just the cars.
No, exactly. When you walk in the gate, you have walked back into a time warp. You know, it is... Everyone gets dressed up. You know, our kids, we take our kids along, and my son did the pedal car race for the first time last year. Even the kids are dressed up in period costumes. I think the way to really explain to people is it's actually one of the best motor racing events, which is not about motor racing.
It's one of the most magical things. But look, this is your little bit of... This is your... the whole idea of this, you've got to get this caramelised butter.
Right.
You see this? So it's got to go this nut brown butter. But you see, it looks like fried tomatoes in here. But you've got to cook this for long enough so it goes soft. So this is really, really clever. So
I would just burn that.
No, you just got this nut brown butter in there. Just keep it nice and ticking away. Meanwhile, over here, we can start to build up our little dish. So one plate. I'll put my sauce back on as well. So I'll put that back on there. So the sauce, we've just got a little bit of Madeira, some butter, a little bit of veal stock in there. And you grab your nice little bit of brioche. There we have it. Lovely bit of a spinach. And then with this, you want to take this till it goes this nut brown colour. This is the key to it. It softens up, so you get this texture that you're so used to, like that. And then you lift this off, put that in there. We'll grab a little bit of salt. This is where you use a touch of sea salt over the top. And then this goes under here. And then your nice little bit of steak.
Oh, wow.
Sits on the top. We've got our lovely mushrooms around the edge. I'm going to take a few little mushrooms all the way around like that. And then, of course, you've got your nice little sauce. This is quite a fancy dish, I have to say, but it's... When I looked at the list of ingredients that you liked, and you like this sort of dish anyway, this is wonderful. But take a little bit of sauce, and you pour that over the top, like that. And then, finally, we can take a little shaving or two of black truffle over the top. A little bit of that over the top of there. And there we have it. Croon, everybody. Done. Bon appetit.
Oh, this is... I mean, I don't know where to start.
Well, you start at the top, you work your way down.
I don't want to ruin it. It looks amazing.
No, that will...
Oh, well, okay.
So there you go. Nicely cooked. But...
I almost want to try the foie gras, fake foie gras.
Well, the melon does that, and it's just... I think it's just a great... It's really clever.
Mm. It's melon.
It's not.
You generally can't tell.
It's good.
Like texture-wise, you can't tell.
Yeah. There you go.
That is amazing. Thank you very much.
Croon, everybody! There we go. Right, I'll be treating him and Dom Jolly to a rack of lamb at the end of the show. I'll be handing over the hobs to Mr. Atul Kutcher very shortly, but see you after the break. When we've got a masterclass as well in Dover sole, another amazing, famous dish. Dover sole meunière I'm going to be doing. You don't want to miss that one. See you after the break. Welcome back. Now, Chef Atul Kutcher will be showcasing more authentic Indian cooking in just a bit. And I'll be treating my guests Dom Jolly and Karen Chanderhook to a final course of lamb at the end of the show. But first, it's time for this week's masterclass. And for this, I'm going to roll my sleeves up because we're cooking one of the finest fish you'll find in any of the seas around Britain. Now, there are turbot, there are halibut, they're brilliant, there's brill, it's wonderful, don't get me wrong. But if you're asking me what the greatest fish is in this country, around these parts, That's Dover sole. It is absolutely amazing. Now, the majority of Dover sole comes from the south coast, particularly around Hastings, and predominantly we don't eat much of it in the UK, and hence we don't eat much of the fish that we catch in the UK, which is such a shame. We should be eating a lot more of it, particularly stuff like this, because the more we eat, the price comes down as well. So we've got some beautiful Dover sole over here. So the king of all flatfish, really, for this one, we're going to do Dover sole Meunière, which is a classic accompaniment, a nut brown butter sauce. But we're going to cook this whole and do the fillet one. So to skin this, the way we do this is you take a knife. Now, I remember doing this at college. What you want to do is you just cut through with a knife the skin, and you just peel that back a little bit. You can see I'm not cutting through the tail. I'm just cutting through the skin bit, which is there. So you cut that through like that and just loosen it a touch. So you've got this little bit of skin left over here. Then what you want to do is get yourself a cloth. You can use a bit of kitchen paper, like that. And then for this, showing my age now, I need to put my glasses on for this because this is too good to mess up. You then hold the tail and the skin, and in one movement, you sort of grab a little bit of it and you pull it. And if you hold the fish down and you pull the fish like that, this whole skin just comes straight off, like that. So you get this tail off, like that. And then what we can do is then take the head of the fish, because not a lot of people like that, I don't know why, but I just keep it on. Trim that off, and you've got this all the way through. So you've got this beautiful, beautiful piece of fish. And then all we can do is then grab a knife, you can just whack through the end, and you've got a beautiful Dover sole ready to cook. Now, I say ready to cook because there's one more thing to do, ready, is to do this. You take a tray with a touch of flour. Now, this is just plain flour, and what you want to do is just dust the fish with the plain flour. I'm going to put 2 pans on here, so turn this up a bit, but you want to dust the surface with this. A little bit of salt and pepper. I like to use some table salt for this rather than sea salt, because it just falls off. Right. Right, black pepper and a little bit of salt. And you want to dust this over with the flour, like that. Now, just get rid of any excess, really. And then in the pan, now, classically, when you're doing this would be done with butter. But, I say a but, the easiest way to do it, because this is classed as a masterclass, I'm going to show you the little hints and tips of how to do it, is use veg oil. So not olive oil, vegetable oil. And what you want to do, I'll bring this forward to over here first. What you want to do is you want to cook this in a little bit of vegetable oil first. Now, I say classically it's done with butter, but with a whole fish like this is the easiest way, and we do the sauce afterwards. But you take this and pop it into the pan, like that. Now, I've got the fillets over here. I've showed you how to fillet fish many, many times on this show as well. But we're going to take our fillets and do a similar sort of thing with this. A little bit of flour, like that. Touch of seasoning. And the same thing applies. If you are faced with bits of fillet, is you turn the pan slightly lower. The great Michel Roux Senior taught me this. You don't want to cook flatfish in a very, very hot pan. Otherwise, what happens is it curls up. So you kind of put it in a medium heat pan and just gently cook it. If the pan's too hot, what will happen is it'll just curl up. It actually toughens up the fish a little bit. So this one's nice and hot because I want to get a nice bit of colour on it. Take that off and wash my hands. So the process of this with the large fish, on the bone, is to get a nice bit of colour on this one. Just keep your eye on it. And then what you can do is get yourself a tray, or you can use a bit of greaseproof like that. And then what we're going to do is turn this over. You start to get that colour on it. That's what we're looking for with the whole fish as well. So this is where the oil helps, really, rather than the butter, because if you use the butter, it can just get a little bit too coloured, and then you're always panicking and rushing. So once you get the fish like that, you can then turn that over. When you've got fillets like this, it's only going to take a couple of minutes either side. When you've got a whole fish like this, it's probably going to take 6 minutes when it goes in the oven. So once you get to that stage, take it off. And we can take our entire fish now and then pop it straight in the oven. Nice hot oven. This is going to take between 6 and 8 minutes, depending on the size of the fish. This fish over here is not far off. So that's the fish there. What we're going to do now with this is I'll just pop it onto a tray. A little tray. So rather than let it sit in the pan, it's continued cooking, we're just going to take that off and just let it sit there. You can probably see that. It's only taken no more than a couple of minutes to cook that fish. That will be fine. In between time, the director's going to find some fluffy clouds because I've got to wash these pans up, ready for the next bit. So, our classic sauce for this, Meunier, or nut brown butter, contains just 3 ingredients. It's got butter. It's always done with butter. Never, ever margarine, ever. It's got to be butter. It's lemon and parsley. They're the 3 main ingredients. It's purely optional where you add things like capers or some people add some shallots to it as well. That's purely an option, but fundamentally it's these 3 ingredients. What you need is the ingredients ready first of all. And this is called mise en place, is to get everything ready before we even begin to start putting the butter in. So you heat up the pan, first of all. Then while this is happening, we chop up the parsley. Now, we chop up the parsley, but also we dice the butter. The diced butter has been done. It's important to have the diced butter done rather than add it as a big chunk, because if you're waiting for that big chunk to go nut brown, parts of it will be black, and the other bit will be just melted. So you want to make sure that all the ingredients are ready. Now, I'm going to do 2 versions of this. I'm going to do one with the capers, and I'm not going to pass it, and the other one, I'm going to pass it. So we're going to show you 2 different variations of the same thing, really. There you go. So with our little butter sauce, we'll do our ones... In fact, we'll do the one with the filleted one first. We'll do it in this pan. Yes, this pan. So this is the one that we're going to do with capers. Nice and simple. So you've got some diced butter over here, like that. You want to get this pan really, really hot. We've got the parsley and we've got some lemon. So we can take a nice bit of lemon like this, and you want to make sure that it's easy for you to squeeze, because this is going to do 2 things. It's going to add the flavour. It's also going to stop it from cooking. So this is quite the crucial bit. So what you want to make sure is the butter's been diced. Smallish dice, like I said, if you're waiting for a big lump like that, it's a bit of a nightmare to wait for the thing to work. So nice hot pan. You want this pan on at least 2 to 3 minutes, getting really, really hot. So now we can add the butter to this. So you can see now it's now frying, like that. And then we wait for it to go nut brown. So while that's happening, we can get a little bit more butter for our other one, like that. And what I'll end up with, this will go sort of this bubbly one first. So we're going to, basically this is the one with the capers. So when we got to that stage, and it starts to bubble up, we're about a minute a bit away, something like that. So we can take the fish. We can take this fish and just flash it in the oven. There we go. With a plate, because we want to serve this on a warm plate as well. Brian Turner will be watching this bit. So you want to make sure this goes nut brown. Now, the key to this is watch the pan. Now, you can see this starting to go nut brown now. Not quite there. The temptation is to take this off too soon and add the lemon too early. You've got to make sure you've got colour in this, as you can see. Now, the best way to do that is, see that foam is now starting to disappear. So that is. Then we take this off the heat. We allow that to cool slightly a little bit. And then we can add things like our capers in there. We can add our lemon. Good squeeze of 2 lemons. A little bit of parsley. This, you can see why you've got everything ready for this. The parsley goes in. That's your nut brown butter with capers. That's that one done. Really, really simple. And then what we do is grab our plate. There you go. Our lovely fish. Take that out. Then we can take our nice little bit a lovely Dover sole. And this is your gorgeous nut brown butter sauce. Now, this is the one that we're not going to pass. Look at the colour of that. It's one of the finest meals that I think you find anywhere. It's one of these things that if you ask a chef what they'll eat, it's this. And too many chefs start messing around with food too much. Just simply cook it like that. It's just beautiful. But there you have your Dover Saumonier fillets. Our whole one, where we're going to pass the sauce and not use capers, is slightly different. So for that one, again, nice hot pan, like that. We're then going to take our butter and do roughly the same thing again. But for this, I'm going to pass it through a sieve, and I'm not going to add the capers. So we've got a sieve over here. Sometimes people use a little cloth, or maybe a tea towel, a little muslin cloth, something like that. But you want the lemon there ready, you want the parsley ready, but that's going to be put after, or the parsley after we've sieved it. Just the lemon in here to stop it from cooking. So once we get to that stage, take this out. Take our beautiful bit of fish, which is this one. I mean, look at that. Glorious bit of Dover sole. Look at this. Pop that onto our little serving platter. Meanwhile, with this, we'll serve it with a little wedge of lemon to get ready. Like that. Going to sit on the side. That is glorious, that. And then we're there, ready with this nut brown butter sauce. So nice hot pan, like that. As soon as you get that colour, looking good, you can see that lovely brown colour. We can stop the cooking. Lemon juice. And then we take the whole lot, pass it through a sieve. Take that off. And now we add the parsley. And then you simply serve it. It's as easy as that. You take this beautiful nut brown. Look at that. Look at that. Nice little wedge of lemon. There you have one of the finest dishes you'll taste anywhere. One passed, one not. Easy as that. Dover sole. The best fish around. Guys, if there's anything you'd like to learn a little about, do get in touch with me, see if we can help out right here on the show. Time now for a quick break, but join me again in a couple of minutes for more sensational cooking, this time from Atul Kutcher. See you in a bit. Welcome back. Now we're laying on lunch of lamb for my guests Dom Jolly and Karun Chandok very shortly. But first, I'm here with Sabrina, and we're both pretty excited at the prospect of this gentleman cooking for us as well, and having a little masterclass of our own in the kitchen. It's the one and only Atul Kutcher. Yeah. Great to have you. Right, I built you up there. Don't fall.
I will not. I'll try my best.
Okay.
Sabrina has set the bar very high.
Even at your half best, is still pretty good.
I'll try my best.
So what are we going to be doing then? There's an amazing selection of ingredients.
So we are making a crab fritter. I call it crab bonda, and I know you start laughing.
Right.
But it's a street food in India made with either beetroot, potatoes, sometimes mixture of root vegetables.
Okay.
So I've decided to make it with crab.
Okay, so fair enough. So you want me to grate the potato for this bit.
So
First of all, you're going to be doing the chutney side of it.
So I'll make a tamarind chutney. So there's a tamarind pulp.
So that's the tamarind you get, and you just pass it through a sieve?
Pass it through a sieve. You can use a block, or if you can get unsalted tamarind paste.
Now, what have you done with this? What have you done with this potato? What?
It's just you can either boil it or bake it, but peel the potatoes out.
Okay, in this with the skins, and then just peel it off afterwards.
Yes, please. Okay. So this is jaggery or cane sugar, and for the spices, I got red chili powder.
Yeah.
That's a little bit of chaat masala going in. Coriander powder.
Yum.
You like it?
Big fan.
Chili flakes. They really do well with this. And that's ginger powder.
Right.
That needs to be there.
What, like the sweet ginger powder you get?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, I'll put all the stuff back so that I don't mix it with my rest of the ingredients. And salt. Right. Good amount of salt.
Yeah.
Add a little bit of water.
And a lot of sugar.
Cane sugar.
Right.
So that really works.
Okay.
Bring it all together and let it simmer.
Okay.
And you will achieve a nice chutney with that.
Yeah.
No
so that's what we end up with. What you got? How long did you cook that for then?
It took about good half an hour.
Okay. And then the colour changes with the sugars and everything else in there as well.
Yeah, so I'll leave that
Okay.
there.
So
and
that's
we'll
that.
Keep this going.
Yeah, right. Next, what? Are we, so
Next one.
this is is that enough potato for you, or you want more?
That's more than enough, sir.
Okay. All right.
So we'll
So
start
this is what do you call these again? This is
crab bunda.
bunda.
Bunda. Or you can call it donut. Some chefs call it donut as well. Just put it on number 1, sir.
Okay, no problem. There you go. So you're toasting the spice. This is for the bunda, which is in here. This is the crab and everything else that goes in here. So tell me about your restaurants then, because
Can you slice this for me,
I
chef,
can
while
do.
you do that?
Just thinly sliced.
Thinly sliced.
Okay. Tell me about the restaurants then. So you've got the main one. Where's the one that you class as your main one? It's still in Mayfair?
Kanishka, yeah.
Yeah.
So I've been cooking at Kanishka for the last 5 years now. That's the main one. And at Kanishka, I'm actually doing a lot of interesting things this year.
Yeah.
We have started a supper club, female-led supper club. All the hero ladies of our industry, chefs, they are coming and cooking, and one of them is Boss, sitting here. She's coming cooking with us in May.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. And then I also started 4 Hands Dinner with all chef friends.
So you you partner with a chef and you just cook together?
So, I partner with them, absolutely. So 7-course meal, and they will cook 4 dishes and I'll cook 3.
Right.
So I want to make them work hard. They're in my
got
kitchen.
yeah, exactly. Just so I know for the telephone call that's coming.
Yeah.
Well, I thought I'll come and build up first. Get you ready for it and then get you in.
I'll do that with you, not a problem.
So what we have here is mustard seed, chili, ginger, and a few curry leaves can
Do you
go
want
in.
the zest from this as well or not?
No zest, chef. Just juice will be enough. A few curry leaves will go in, and now picked crab.
Yum.
You like that?
I think it's such a great ingredient, isn't it? Beautiful.
Crab meat is just so good. The shellfish this time of year, though, is just so good as well.
I find fish in this country always very good, to be honest.
Yeah.
And I just love, if you just follow the chart that what you get in what season.
I still don't think we eat as much as we should.
No,
I
we
think
don't.
We should eat
We
a lot
don't.
more. We export way too much.
Yeah.
Among shellfish, my favorite is actually mussels.
Yeah.
I love mussels, and I love mackerel. These are the two of my favorite ingredients. But trying to feed that to people in this country, these 2 ingredients are quite tough.
Yeah, well,
I don't know why.
Mussels, I mean, absolutely delicious. So you've just mixed this all together.
Mix it all together, sir.
Yeah.
Oh my.
And then you've got
Side
a
of
crumb.
it.
So usually with this, with flour, egg, and breadcrumb, this you're going to do it slightly different.
I mix it with corn flour,
Yeah.
and I know you're going to laugh at me.
No, you called this corn flour slurry earlier.
Yeah.
Which slurry as a pig farmer means totally different to what that is.
Okay, I'm not going to ask what does that mean in pig farming. But this is good.
Just corn flour and water.
Corn flour water.
All right. Okay.
Okay, so and then you make that size balls.
Yeah.
Dip them in, but they need to cool down. So I'm just going to do 1.
Okay.
And they need to be rested in the fridge.
Right, which we got.
Which
we
you
got
got?
there. So tell me, where does this come from in India? Because all these comes from a different
So
area, or is this all around?
This
India?
is mostly west coast of India.
Right.
Bonda is a kind of street food in Western India.
Okay.
Goa and Bombay, so all those places. Okay, so we'll fry it at 170.
Yeah. And then you're going to do a salad. You want me to sort of dice the apple as well?
Yes,
We've got
please,
this
chef. Thank
nice
you.
little salad. So we've got carrot.
No, that's a kimchi.
Oh, kimchi.
I've used a ready-made
I ain't
kimchi.
got my glasses
for
on. It is kimchi. You are correct.
Can you pass me that bowl?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Right. So slice this up as well, like that.
We use kimchi,
Yeah.
corn.
Oh, I love this mix again. This sort of,
You need
kimchi,
tangy, sweet, tangy.
South Asian. Love
Absolutely.
that.
Where do you get all the ideas from all these restaurants then? Where does all this come from? You must have had development.
I'm a big fan of a show called Saturday Morning with James Martin.
It's like you nick everybody else's.
Seamless.
And I get most of my ideas from there.
Mix it from everybody else, yeah. Yeah.
Have you watched that show ever?
Where does it come from then? Because you didn't get much time to travel and bits and pieces?
Whenever I'm in India, James, I have to travel because my family is so spread out.
Yeah.
My brother lives in Delhi, my one sister lives near Calcutta, and other one lives near Mumbai.
Right.
So we are quite a spread out family.
Yeah.
So
So I'm
I
thinking
take
about...
opportunity to go and travel and see them and also enjoy the food around there.
Now, we get many questions on this show as well about foodie destinations and bits and pieces. I'm going to make a trip to India this year. I've said to myself, where would I go if I was going to...
a little bit of coriander.
If I was going to 2 places in India, give me 2 places, because I can't get around the entire place. Give me 2 places where I would go.
I would go to definitely Delhi.
Right.
Delhi is a great place, but that's enough, James. And Rajasthan.
Yeah.
Rajasthan.
So Jaipur.
Yeah.
Jaipur area where you would really enjoy being there. So a little bit of chutney goes in just to make it tangy.
Yeah.
It's not that it's not. If you
want me to mix it,
Chef? Thank you.
So all you've done is just mix all this lot up.
That's it.
And the kimchi. All right, okay.
And
that sauce, I have to say, that sauce is amazing.
it's beautiful.
Amazing.
And it goes with lots of things. And, when you eat samosa, this is the sauce you need, not mint chutney, honestly.
Right.
That goes in.
I'm really
It makes
excited
this
about
look
this.
so easy, doesn't it?
He does.
I will actually use these 2. And I'll let that fry a bit more.
Do you want the others cooking a little bit more?
Yeah.
So
And
a little
that's
bit
it.
of coriander.
Simple.
As simple as that, he says.
As
Just
simple as that.
Simple as that.
Made
So
that
give
look
us the name of this dish, because this looks beautiful.
So I'm going to call this what I call it. I call it crab bunda, and that's what it is.
That's what
from
it
my
is.
menu.
The brilliant Atul Kutcher, everybody.
Thank you.
Well, you get to taste this as well. Do we get a little takeaway? I suppose we've got to dip them in here as well, so bring them over.
Yeah, I'm
Now,
not sharing.
I have to tell you while you're down to this, how you got this gig. We talked about your restaurant and something else. The World Darts. You were cooking there.
I was cooking at World Darts.
Oh, that's my dream to go and watch the World Darts.
Well,
It really-
I just got a glimpse of Mr. Littler.
Yeah.
And got to shake his hand as well. Nice guy, very polite, very gentle. He looks like a 16-year-old, no doubt about it in real life. But when you see him on telly, you think, yeah, he's 20-something at least.
So what dishes were you doing with that? You were catering for it? Or?
Yeah, so we did a platinum membership hospitality suite for guests who were coming in there, and we cooked 3-course meal, proper 3-course meal.
Fantastic. Any good for one of the 3
Only
courses?
you can carry on talking. Then I don't have to share.
delicious,
that
isn't it?
is unbelievable. So tasty.
Knows what he's doing, doesn't he?
It's a bit serious, that chap.
Atul Kutcher, everybody. Brilliant. I'll see you at the darts.
I'll see you at darts.
Or at your restaurant. I'll do that dinner for you. Right, we've still got time for one more final dish, so join us again after the break when we're treating Dom Jolly and Karun Chandok and these 2 to a show-stopping lamb dish. I'll see you after the break. This is delicious.
Oh, my Lord.
Welcome back, sadly, to the last part of the show. But I'm back in the kitchen with all my guests and the chefs, Sabrina Gita, Atul Kutcher, and of course the brilliant guests, Karun and Dom. And we're going to finish the show, because I know you've enjoyed the food, but we're going to finish the show with something slightly different. So this is roast best end of lamb, and we're going to serve it with a carbonaro pesto, but I'm going to deep fry this.
Nice.
And then we're going to do that with a little herb crust. So if I can get you to break up the bread onto here, that would be great. So that's that. The lamb best thing we're going to do. We're going to do that with a nice sauce and mashed potato to go with it as well. So the lamb itself, we get this best end. This is the best end of lamb. A lot of chefs use this because it's basically, this has been what we call French trim. So if you're asking your butchers or you get it from the supermarket, French trim means it has the bones cleaned at the top and it's had the chine underneath. There's 2 of these running down the back, and then you get the saddle off the front of it. So it means when you cut it through, you get perfect lamb chops. That's where it comes from. So French trim rack of lamb. So if you can get that, we've put the capers on there as well. Sprinkle about half of them on there.
Yeah, sure.
About half the anchovies go on there as well. That would be great. And now, Dom, are you into your cars at all? Do you venture out into racetracks and bits and pieces? Are you into that?
No, I'm more a sort of really bad off-roader.
Oh, really? Well, most racing drivers are into off-road bikers, aren't they? Yeah?
I've done the Nürburgring in a kind of executive Jaguar saloon, which didn't go well. But mostly I do it when I'm travel writing. I kind of tend to always get stuck somewhere. So I did a book where I drove around Britain, and I was in the Yorkshire Dales, And there's just constantly, you just see these...
Yes.
You think, is that a track or a footpath? And I think I'll always give it a go. And so I've ended up quite a few times stuck at the top of mountains on stuff. But the worst was when I was hunting Bigfoot in Northern California. And I was
He's thinking, what, is this serious?
Yes. No, I was. I was writing a book about going monster hunting, and I went
Did you
into...
find it?
Well,
Am I giving away the punchline?
Well, if I did find it, no one would believe me anyway, because I'm a prankster. But so I drove up in the middle of nowhere, about 18 miles away from civilization, tried to reverse, got stuck, and tried to walk out. And unfortunately, the only people up there, not Bigfoot, but are people growing illegal marijuana. And they are not happy when some idiot starts wandering through their stuff. So yeah, I tend to think cars do more than they're capable of. That's the problem.
That was a different... I don't know where that question was going then, but neither did you. But
No, I mean, you know, Bigfoot stories.
Yeah. This is our crumb, guys. So you just basically blend the crumb, give it a quick... Let's keep going. The lamb itself, you just seal off like that. Seal it off. We've got a little bit of our fat over here. There we go. Then stop. Take the lid off. Chuck the... So this is mint and parsley, and then blend it again. Wow. Really give it a good blend. That's it. That, we've got a nice little sauce over here that we're going to make. This is a little bit of jus. That's going to go in there. A little bit of lamb stock. I'm going to reduce that all down. That's that one there. The lamb itself, what you do with that is you use... The mustard becomes this sort of glue that goes with it. So this is Dijon mustard. You spread it all over the top. That goes in. Now, so, Karun, I didn't ask you earlier, so are you an accomplished cook at all? Because I don't suppose you get a chance at all, because you're just travelling around all over the place, but...
Well, I moved to England when I was 18, and I tell this story often. The first day I got to my race team, and they went, oh, you're the new guy, you can go make a cup of tea. And I stood there and I went, I don't actually know what to do. I boiled the kettle and just stood there. I couldn't...
What you hoped it would happen.
I had no idea what to do.
You don't know how to make a cup of tea?
I couldn't, and I wanted to... You know, I woke up the next morning, long story short, got to my house, I thought, oh, I'm going to make some boiled eggs. And I broke 4 eggs because I couldn't get the... honestly, I couldn't do anything. I could make scrambled eggs and toast, and that was all I could make when I moved here. But over time...
Since you got your second Michelin star.
Well, with lots of Skype back then, before FaceTime, to my mum and my grandma out in India. No, I can hold my own in the kitchen now.
What's your signature dish?
I tend to cook more the Indian food in our house.
Yeah.
My wife does what we call Western food, if you like. But I've got a variety of chicken curries, and I mean, I'm sort of looking this way. I'm not going to look at him. But I can hold my own in the kitchen now.
Nice. So keep going.
Lively.
Yeah, we've got Alex on camera 3, but he'll be all right. He's got his jacket to protect him. It's fine.
Solid bean up down here.
But look, this is the carbonara. You want to basically just keep going and keep deep frying this. I'm going to give you all to deep fry. So
what's that old Scottish recipe?
It's what, deep fried lettuce. I love this as well. So, but this is your lamb. So if you're doing if you want this for Sunday lunch, dinner pies, you make the lamb like this. So I've sealed it all off, salt and pepper, cover it with the mustard, cover it with the crust, and then you pop it in the fridge. And then when you want to eat it, you just pop it in the oven. 25 minutes, something like that. About 200 degrees. 25 minutes in there. That's that done. Keep the crust as well. This is the crust. You get this umami sort of crust, but you'll have a taste of that. But this has got, you get this, that's got the lemon, the anchovy, and all that kind of stuff in there. It's really quite an unusual sort of taste with it as well. So just to remind us, you're on tour again, because we remind what you're doing. This is your new book out as well. So you've got the book out, Conspiracy Tourist, a tour to follow it as well.
Conspiracy Tour all over England from February the 21st to March the 28th. Come and see me.
That's the Bigfoot story in there.
Exactly. No, that's an old book.
And we were talking about Goodwood as well. You've got, Goodwood, very, very special. A place in my heart. It's in my calendar every single year.
I love it. I mean, you know, we have the opportunity in the sport to look back at an amazing history. And I think Goodwood's one of those places where it embraces it fully. You know, James and I first met, I think it was 2012, 2013. We were racing minis together.
We're against
in mind, he's about a foot taller than me.
I know, I was going to say.
Well, never mind a foot taller. I'm never mind about 10 ton heavier, to be honest with you.
But
who won?
He did. I outqualified him, but I was quick for 2 laps. Yeah. But what these guys do is, I think the consistency, that's the thing that it's infuriating as a wannabe driver, and I am no means a racing driver at all. As a wannabe driver.
It's just so special, though, isn't it? in the way that they bring together people from different eras, bikes, cars, rallying.
Yeah.
You know, you never get this chance to have a coffee with Mario Andretti and see Sebastian Vettel and Nigel Mansell and all these people within the same place. So the social side is brilliant.
It is a very, very special... And also the cars that are there. If you don't have to be into cars to enjoy the experience. If you don't want to see the vast array at the Festival of Speed, then you've got the Revival, because the Revival is really, really special. If you've never been, everybody gets dressed up in period costumes.
It's like the Whitby Goth Weekender, I'd imagine.
We talked about it, yeah, exactly. I mentioned, I knew Don was coming. You used to be a goth, didn't you?
I did, but I had no idea why, so I'm just doing a show.
I said, can you tell me why they all used to turn up in Whitby? And you used to go to Whitby?
Yeah, well, they turned out Whitby because Bram Stoker wrote Dracula there, about the Abbey. That was why. But it's now turning into the world's first goth retirement home.
Wow.
Which I never saw coming.
It is the most surreal thing ever, trust me.
The things, and the tip about the soap and the crimper, didn't know that for the hair.
Did you not know that?
No.
This was in the makeup room, yeah. So in the old days, before, like, we had people doing hair here, so I've got this sticking up. In the old days, it would have been soap and a crimper. That's the goth way.
So, look, once you've got the lamb, you then leave it to rest, and then in between the cutlets, then you slice this through, and you cut this through, and you've got your roast best end of lamb.
Look at that.
Like that.
Amazing.
And then, do you want to do a chefy spoonful of the sauce? Are you happy with that?
Happy to.
If I'll heat that up for you, you can then just...
Do the
You can do
spoonage.
the little chefy drizzle,
Thanks.
and then I'll take the little bit of pesto. So we've got some of this deep-fried pesto that goes over the top.
So is that deconstructed Cavalier Nero?
Well, I don't know about that. It's just I just love the flavour of it, but it's a little bit of that to go with it, and then you've got some of this lovely little sauce.
Oh yeah, look at that.
That's going to go with it as well.
Is this the drizzle?
A little bit on the edge.
I know, I feel like I'm being judged
Yeah,
here.
yeah,
no?
definitely.
You
No
are.
pressure, no pressure.
You are. And there we have it. So the roast best end of lamb with a simple little sauce, deep fried carbonara. If you're doing deep fried carbonara, go around to your neighbour's house and do it there, because it creates one hell of a mess. There we have it, done. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
There we have it. There we pass it down. There you go.
Cheers.
Don, dive into that.
Thank you very much, I will.
Dive in. Me and thee have
Yes. Chef's,
got this
chef's
chef's
lunch.
thing. Is that all right? There
Quite
we go.
right, too.
We've got a bit of that. Bit of that as well.
Love the look of this crust.
And well, have a taste. Yeah, good. I think you eat it with the fingers. It's probably easier.
Are we there?
I'm going to give you. Look, I'll give you a little bit of this as well. So we've got a touch
wow.
of this while the guys
my
are
God.
just diving in. But
All right. Am I going to do this?
go on, go do it.
Go on,
do
then.
it, do it.
Cheers.
Incredible. Absolutely fantastic.
Amazing. The sauce is beautiful.
Yeah.
So,
We should open a restaurant.
Yeah.
Walk in the park, doesn't
I'm
it?
in. Oh,
We've got a queue
delicious.
already. Look at them.
I know.
Right, that's it. That's the last of to the show today. Massive thank you to all my guests. Eileen Ferguson for that amazing whiskey, Atul Kutcher, Sabrina Gita, and of course Karen Chanderhook and Dom Jolly. Thank you very much. Good luck with the tour. I'll see you at Goodwood. See you in the restaurant. And me and you won't open in a restaurant. There we go. We'll see you back at the same time next Saturday morning. We'll be joined by top chefs Tony Tobin and Paul Foster. And also chocolatier Mark Tilling will be here. And the one and only Jane McDonald. Until then, take care. Thanks for watching. See you next week. Bye for now.
Fast delivery. Thrilling entertainment. Join Prime for $8.99 a month.